On This Week in Murder, we cover the investigation and provide a timeline of events that has led to the arrest of a young artist who seemingly had a bright future ahead, as well as the public outcry for justice that finally came, but with many lingering questions as to why the long wait. The cautionary tale of a young runaway, a rising star, fame, music, money, a heinous death, and the threat of losing it all. A look at what we know so far on the murder investigation of Celeste Rivas and the arrest of David on This Week in Murder. David Anthony Burke was born March 28, 2005 in New York City to a strong Christian family. Throughout his childhood, he was only allowed to listen to gospel music and was active in the church where he sang and played piano. His family later moved to Houston, Texas, and he attended public school until 7th grade when he was then homeschooled. During this time, David felt isolated. To cope with this feeling, he turned to his school-issued laptop in his room and explored the internet and social media. At 13, young David was fascinated with this portal to the outside world. He heard secular music for the first time and discovered artists like XXXTentacion and played video games. Fortnite and Call of Duty were his games of choice. Does this sound familiar to any other parent in America? David then began live streaming on platforms like Twitch while he was gaming. He played music during his videos and interacted with other gamers and started building a large community and fan base. He uploaded videos of these live streams to YouTube. Due to him adding copyrighted music in his videos, they were repeatedly taken down. It wasn't until his mother recommended that he make his own music instead that his life changed forever. Already with 50,000 YouTube subscribers, David would upload his own music he made on his iPhone. He would record in his sister's closet for better sound and use apps like BandApp where he would upload indie-type beats from YouTube and lay his lyrics and his own unique sound over them. His audience loved his first singles like Runaway, You and I, and Take Me to the Sun, and his fans grew by the thousands. In late July 2022, his do-it-yourself acoustic melodies and voice began to explode. His digital world expanded, and at this point he interacted with one of those fans, Celeste Rivas Hernandez, through his official Discord server in 2022. Born in Lake Elsinore, California, Celeste was only 13 when she was reported missing. While some label her as simply troubled, the reality is often more complex. She was a girl who chose to run away, and while we don't have the facts to allege specific wrongdoing in her home, she was clearly seeking an escape. She found it in the Hollywood Hills rental home of a rising star. But who was the man she was running to? David Burke's upbringing was defined by isolation. Homeschooled after 7th grade, he was self-described a late bloomer who was restricted to gospel music and church. While he was pushed towards academic excellence, his only real social outlet was the digital world. By the time he met 12-year-old Celeste, David was 17, but some argue his growth was socially stunted. Having skipped the traditional high school experience, he may have still been operating at the emotional level of a 14-year-old. This psychological gap might explain why a global superstar sought such an intensive secret connection with a child. For a time, it seemed his music was curated specifically for her, but the sanctuary she sought turned into something far darker. It wasn't just the lyrics that were haunting. It was the timing. On September 7th, 2022, David released the official music video for Romantic Homicide. Was the date random? Most fans don't think so. September 7th was Celeste's 12th birthday. He saved the premiere of those violent visuals for her special day. Fast forward to 2025, her remains were discovered on September 8th, just 24 hours after she would have turned 15. For internet detectives, this wasn't a coincidence. It was a signature. And then there's the casting. Multiple female leads in his work bear a haunting resemblance to Celeste. If he was already visualizing these scenarios in his art, was this less about art and more of a blueprint? According to the prosecution, Celeste was murdered on or about April 23rd, 2025, but wasn't dismembered until May 5th. That leaves 12 days. 12 days where they allege David Burke lived in a house with her remains. Did the reality of those 12 days provide the inspiration for his visceral, dark imagery found in his debut album Withered, recorded around the same window? The facade finally crumbled because of a parking ticket. A black Tesla Model Y registered to David Burke sat abandoned on a Hollywood street for weeks until it was towed on September 8th. Impound lot employees noticed a foul odor and a swarm of flies. They opened the front trunk. Inside were 2 bags, one with a torso and another containing severed limbs. For months, the public watched as David remained free. Internet detectives went on a scavenger hunt, picking apart he and Celeste's matching tattoos and the possible meaning behind them. And the time they were seen on a stream together and Celeste made a joke about having sex with a minor, they laughed it off together and immediately ended the stream. All the music videos with seemingly cryptic messages, but yet so direct and abundantly clear. David is thrown into a trunk of a car by a girl who resembles Celeste and another man. Viewers are calling it his confession. In January 2026, Neo Langston, a former friend of David and content creator, was arrested for failure to appear before a grand jury. On February 4th, Langston appeared in the grand jury room where he was interviewed for about 40 minutes. He was released and has only been identified as a witness by the authorities. In mid-March, Neo Langston posted on social media, basically distancing himself from David and denying any involvement. When the hammer dropped in April of 2026, the charges included a heavy special circumstance, murdering a witness in an investigation. This indicates that authorities had already begun an investigation into the nature of their relationship before Celeste died. The other special circumstances are lying in wait and murder for financial gain. They are alleging that David lured his victim to him to then attack at the most opportune time, and that he did so to cover up his crime of sexual assault on a 13-year-old girl. The medical examiner's report claims that Celeste suffered 2 penetrating wounds to her torso, right abdomen with injury to her liver, left chest, and disruption to her adjacent ribs, bilateral dismemberment of her upper and lower extremities per the report. The defense claims the prosecution is hiding evidence, but the DA fired back, saying they are simply processing the sheer volume of discovery. At his initial court appearance, they cited having over 1 terabyte of data. To put that in perspective, if a single gigabyte were 1 apple, a terabyte is a massive orchard of 1,000 apples. If you printed that data out, the stack of paper would be over 12 miles high. At his preliminary hearing on Thursday, April 23rd, prosecutors disclosed that they found over 40 terabytes of child pornography on his cell phone. While the public is obsessed with his lyrics, prosecutors know that art as evidence is a legal minefield. Instead, they are looking for digital DNA. They aren't just looking at rhymes. They are scouring emails, private Discord chat rooms, and cell phone pings that place his devices at the scene. The lyrics are a chilling outlier, the vibe of the case, but the hard evidence lies in those gigabytes of private logs and his Google search history. As David Burke sits in a cell, the world is left to wonder how a kid in a closet became a man in a cage. And just when you think your child is home, safe, playing video games, a real danger could be lurking, as the horrid details of this case is a staunch reminder that the old saying, "Don't talk to strangers," has become "stay off the chat." Like and subscribe to stay updated on this story and more on the next This Week in Murder.